For years, I thought Ephesians 4:26 was terrible advice. Don't let the sun go down on your anger. Are you kidding me? Some fights can't be resolved in one day. Some wounds are too deep. Some people aren't safe to reconcile with before bedtime. I'd read this verse and think, Paul, you clearly never dealt with my father-in-law. Welcome to living on a prayer. I'm glad you're here. Today we're looking at Ephesians 4:26 to 27, and a message I'm calling Anger's Door Invites the Devil. And I want to tell you about the day I realized I'd been reading this passage completely wrong, and how that wrong reading had cost me more than I knew. Here's the lie I'd been telling myself. I thought this verse was about conflict resolution, about making nice, about swallowing your feelings and forcing reconciliation before your head hits the pillow. So when someone hurt me, really hurt me, and I couldn't fix it by midnight, I'd feel this double burden. The original hurt plus guilt for failing Paul's impossible standard. I'd lie there at 11:47 p.m. thinking, 13 minutes to resolve 15 years of family dysfunction. Great. So I did what a lot of us do. I decided this verse was for simpler people with simpler problems. Not for me. Not for my complicated, messy, real-world anger. But then I actually read what Paul wrote, not what I thought he wrote. The full passage says, "Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger and give no opportunity to the devil." Notice what's not there. Paul doesn't say, resolve all conflicts before bedtime. He doesn't say, make peace with everyone. He says, don't let the sun go down on your anger, on your anger. This isn't about the other person at all. This is about what happens inside you when you hold on to rage overnight. Paul's not worried about your relationship status. He's worried about your soul. And that's when it hit me. Anger isn't the problem. Paul literally says, be angry. Anger is a normal human emotion. Sometimes it's the only sane response. If you're not angry about injustice, about cruelty, about betrayal, something's wrong with you, not right with you. The problem is what I was doing with my anger after dark. I was nursing it, rehearsing conversations, building cases, refining my grievances. Every night I'd feed my anger like a pet I was training to attack. And I told myself this was healthy processing. This was not sweeping things under the rug. This was me being emotionally mature. But Paul saw something I couldn't see. He says when you do that, when you take your anger to bed, when you let it set up camp in your mind overnight, you give opportunity to the devil. That word opportunity in Greek is topos. It means a place, a foothold, a room you've just rented out. Here's what I was actually doing. Every night I nursed my anger. I was opening a door in my heart and hanging a vacancy sign. And something moved in. Not all at once, nothing dramatic, just a gradual hardening, a slow calcification of my spirit. I became someone I didn't recognize. Bitter, cynical, quick to assume the worst. My righteous anger had become a spiritual address for something darker. I remember the moment I saw it clearly. I was angry at my brother, legitimately angry. He'd broken a promise that mattered, and I'd been cultivating that anger for weeks. Then one day my daughter did something completely unrelated, something minor, and I snapped at her with a viciousness that shocked us both. Later, trying to understand where that came from, I realized the anger I'd been feeding about my brother had grown teeth. It had become something larger than the original wound. It had taken up residence, and now it was running the house, deciding who else deserved my rage. That's the opportunity Paul's warning about. Anger starts as a response to real wrong. But when you hold it overnight, when you rehearse it, when you make it your nighttime companion, it stops being about justice and becomes about something else entirely. So, what does it actually mean to not let the sun go down on your anger? It means you do something with it before you sleep. Not with the person who hurt you, with the anger itself. You name it. You feel it. You write it down if that helps. You tell God about it without filters. You cry if you need to. And then, this is the hard part, you release your grip on it. Not because the other person deserves it. Not because the wrong wasn't real. But because you're not going to let today's anger become tomorrow's identity. You're not giving it a bedroom in your soul. This doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean you don't set boundaries or pursue justice. It means you're not going to sleep marinating in rage. I started a new practice. Every night before bed, I'd do an anger inventory. Not a gratitude journal. This wasn't about toxic positivity. Just an honest check. What made me angry today? And then I'd say it out loud to God. Sometimes in my car, sometimes in the shower, sometimes on a walk. I'd say, I'm furious that he lied to me. I'm angry that she dismissed my work. I'm enraged by what I saw on the news. And then I'd say, I'm not keeping this overnight. I'm not feeding this. It doesn't get a room here. Some nights I'd have to say it 20 times before I could actually release my grip. But here's what changed. I stopped waking up angry. The hard things were still hard. The wrongs were still wrong. But I was no longer giving them my first and last thoughts of every day. I'd close the door, and slowly, I became myself again. The cynicism lifted. The hair-trigger temper calmed. I could be angry about specific things without anger being my baseline state. My daughter noticed first. She said, Dad, you're not scary anymore. That broke me and healed me at the same time. This is what Paul knew. Unprocessed anger doesn't stay contained. It metastasizes. It finds new targets. It colors everything. And eventually, you can't remember what you were originally angry about. You're just an angry person now. That's the devil's opportunity. Not a pitchfork and horns, just the slow corruption of your spirit, one resentful night at a time. Paul's not being dramatic. He's being desperately practical. Don't give anger a place to sleep in your heart. It's a terrible roommate. So tonight, before you sleep, do the inventory. What are you angry about? Say it. Feel it. Don't spiritualize it or minimize it. And then make a decision. This doesn't get to stay. I'm not giving it a room here. Not because anger is bad, but because I know what it becomes when I feed it after dark. God, help us know the difference between righteous anger and the bitterness that destroys us. Teach us to feel what needs to be felt, to fight what needs to be fought, and to release what we're not meant to carry overnight. Close the doors we've left open. Evict what's made a home in our resentment. Make us people who can be angry without being consumed, who can fight for justice without becoming cruel, who can feel deeply without drowning. We ask this in your name. Amen. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if you're not already subscribed, join us. We're here every day. Until next time, friends, may God's grace and peace be with you.